Hello, I'm Holly Brooks, and welcome to the DLD Winter Concert 2014, live from St Marylebone Parish Church in London. Today we have performances from our very talented students and staff. This is our last winter concert in Marylebone, so it is a very important occasion for the school. We will also have an award ceremony to celebrate the students' successes. You can get in touch during the broadcast via Twitter at DLD College. So let's go to our first performance and get into the festive spirit.
For lots of you and hoping to be with them. And it raises the idea, which I've always felt, that winter festivals are probably the best festivals of all. In most cultures, there's something very interesting about the contrast between the light and the warmth of being inside and the cold and the darkness outside. You know, they're a nice way to get together, to gather together, to comfort one another, to be warm in the darkness outside, waiting for the spring to come back. Now, obviously, Christmas is a predominant festival in Britain, but there are many others. And I'd like you just to explain to you some of my favorite winter festivals that have informed the way that the British and Europeans and other cultures sometimes celebrate Christmas. The first one is the Roman festival of Saturnalia. Now, Saturnalia was a festival celebrating the king Saturn. It was a time when Romans would feast, they would give gifts, they would briefly give privileges to their slaves, which would then be taken away again at the end of Saturnalia. But people generally would gather together, have a happy time, party, feast, eat. Another one from just to the north is Yule. Now, Yule is a Germanic winter festival. It lasts for 12 days. Families and friends and clans would gather together, feast, give gifts, and protect themselves and warm themselves against the horrors of the dark. Now, my favorite version of Yule is the Yule that they celebrate in Iceland. Now, when the Norse and the Germanic peoples got to Iceland, they found that the winters were very, very, very dark and very, very, very long. And in the middle of winter, a day might last only 4 hours. So the festival of Yule became incredibly important culturally to keep these people happy through the dark months. Now, one other thing you might know about Iceland is that they have ogres and trolls that are very, very dangerous creatures. So during the Yuletide festival in Iceland, one of the unfortunate things is that the ogres and trolls, particularly Grilla and her 13 evil hairy sons, would come down from the mountains with a big sack. They would collect up all the children, they would take them back to the mountain, they would cook them, and they would eat them. Now this is a bit of a downer on Yule, basically, but it was very, very useful for keeping the children indoors. It was very useful for making sure they went to bed very early, and it made them happy to be alive. Now, in 1000 AD, Iceland was Christianized. It happened gradually, roughly 1000 AD. And a lot of these old pagan beliefs really didn't fit in with the new beliefs of Christianity and the new ideas that were coming from Europe. But the Icelanders wanted to hold on to some of their old traditions, so there was a compromise. They let go of Thor and Odin and Loki. They went away. The old gods weren't important anymore. They went off to be in Hollywood movies, so they worked out okay for them. But they really didn't want to let Grilla and the 13 evil, hairy sons who come down and eat children go, because it was such a useful disciplinary tool, as you can imagine, for parents to get kids to bed. So there was a compromise. They rebranded or rebooted Grilla as Grilla and the 13 Father Christmases. What happened thenceforth was every Christmas time, or Yuletide, Grilla and her 13 Father Christmases would come down to the human villages. They'd cause mischief, they'd cause a lot of trouble, and they would collect up, to the best of their ability, only the naughty children, and then they would take the naughty children and eat them and cook them, which meant that the good children had the reward on Christmas Day of being alive. Now, it seems quite harsh, but it worked, and a lot of the elements of Yule actually preceded Santa Claus as well. So there's a mixture of Santa Claus is the friendly face of a scary legend, really. But where does it link to our theme of care and caring? Well, I don't think it's good enough for children just to be grateful to wake up. I think a little bit more would be nice than knowing that you weren't eaten by an evil troll. But it links quite closely to this word of care and caring. Now, that's another sort of Germanic word. It comes from Northern Europe. 1,000 years ago, or a bit more, the word care meant grief, lament, sadness, pain, lots of very negative things. In Iceland, it even meant sickbed. Being in your sickbed is when you had care. And it still has an element of that usage now, but sometime in the Middle Ages, we don't really know why, care became a verb. And caring became something that you actively did, rather than just something that existed or was there and you couldn't do anything about. And so I have a tip, for you, or a suggestion for myself, for those 13 Father Christmases who think it's enough for children just to be happy to be alive. They can turn that idea of caring into something active. So unless you act on a concern or a sense of empathy or sympathy, it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't have any value if you just think it or feel it. So unless you put your caring, into action, which could just be saying something kind to someone, care doesn't really exist. Okay, so that's the only thing I'd like you to take away from it. Now, there are lots of songs and readings on that general theme of care and caring, and obviously some Christmas themes are going to creep in. I think it's inevitable. But first of all, the first of our performances, I'd like to introduce Longhua Wan, who's going to play Innocent, a piano recital. Thank you.
I think that was so beautiful. Let's just have another round of applause for our young lady there. Because this afternoon is about celebrating success of students, both in their academic achievement and also for performances. So please, we want to see lots of clapping and lots of smiling, because we remember that the live stream is in process. So students, your parents are watching, people at home, I know you always smile anyway, but let's have a really big smile on your face today. A couple of pieces of housekeeping that Michael mentioned, just to remind you. I wouldn't want anybody to be embarrassed by their mobile phone going off. So please just double check and make sure it's on silent or on that flight mode. That's the first thing. Live stream I've talked about. I'm going to be talking about our general theme this afternoon and tying it into our charity work. But before I begin, let me just recognize the presence of some very important people who are sitting at the front of this beautiful church. We have Lady Perry, and thank you very much, Lady Perry, coming back and remembering DLD. You're a great friend to us. Thank you very much. You're going to help us out with some awards and kindly say a few words to us as well. We always listen when you have something to say, so thank you. We also have Julian Drinkhall in our presence, who is the new CEO of Alpha Plus. Some of the parents and students will not have met him. He's sitting in the front row here, and it's the first time that we've welcomed you to such a ceremony, so thank you for your time. Richard Purchase, who is an old friend to the college, who's the Director of Colleges and Development, has done a great job in getting here, because I understand that he's hot off a plane from China. So try and keep awake, and Aris will keep giving you a nudge if we see that you're dropping off there, Richard. Next to Richard, Aris, I'm not going to bother to introduce you, I'm afraid. We have Mark Sample, who is another director of Alpha Plus, who has also managed to find the time to be with us, and it's great to see you here, Mark. So welcome to everybody, all our staff at DLD. I know you're scattered amongst the students. We have students here from Belgravia and students from Marylebone. We have some parents, we have some friends, we have some agents. A warm welcome, as Michael said, on what is a fairly chilly day outside. At this stage, I promised that I would give a little bit of a shout out, although I'm not sure I know how to do that, to a young man who is called Nikita, who I met in Vilnius in Lithuania last weekend. Nikita, I said I would embarrass you and mention your name because you will be coming to join us in September. So hello to Nikita, who is watching us from Lithuania, but also to all the countries that all the marketing team have visited around the world that are tuning in to us today. We are grateful for your work, and we're grateful for the students that we have here. We're promising that we're returning them safely for Christmas, but they need to be back with us in January, please. So our theme this afternoon is caring and being cared for. A very pertinent theme, I feel, at this time of the year, when most of us are gathering our thoughts and our bank accounts ready for the Christmas spending spree. Others are not so fortunate, and this year DLD College has chosen as one of our charities to help Shelter with their efforts. Now, Shelter does a lot of good work in helping people who are much, much less fortunate than ourselves. Helping the homeless, helping give them a bed for night, and so on and so on. And we're going to be talking about that in a little bit more detail when the Student Council come up here and do a very brief presentation. So those statistics of people who are homeless and, as I say, much less fortunate are very frightening. Sometimes we do concentrate our efforts on efforts overseas, such as AIDS, such as water relief, and various other things. That's great that we dig deep into our purses, but my message here this afternoon is please let us not avoid what is on our doorsteps. We all have a social responsibility to help people around us in the community as well. Now, I see that Tesco's recently have had a very interesting initiative in this direction. I popped into a very large Tesco superstore, whatever the name is, in Salisbury a few weeks ago. And a very charming young man said to me, would I like to just purchase one extra food item that would go into the food bank? And I thought, what a clever idea. And as I was going around the supermarket, I thought, what is that going to be? Because I was faced with so much choice. Am I going to take something fairly boring like tea bags? Or am I going to have a box of chocolates? Is it going to be tea bags or is it chocolates? I'd like you just to consider for a moment what item you would select if you're in that position. If you could just choose one item to make a huge difference to a family over Christmas, that is struggling to put food on the table, what would you actually choose to purchase? And then very quickly, just turn to the person next to you and tell them what your choice is and why you've chosen it. 1 minute, very, very quickly. What have you chosen? Okay, I think that's exceeded the minutes. Some interesting discussions, I'm sure. I'll just share with you what my group over here had. They had, well, Simon had chicken, we had bread, we had toasters bread, so I'll just say bread. Okay, did anybody choose tea bags? No tea bags, so nobody's got that. Okay, we've got some tea bags, so that line of thought is not just with me. So, I did think of tea bags, I did think of cereal, I did think of chocolates, but I also thought of orange juice and bread and butter and coffee and jam and soup and bacon and biscuits and apples and bananas and milk and cheese and yogurts and ice cream and flour and eggs, as a few. I'm sure some of your choices was on that list. In the end, I was in such a dilemma that I took one of each. And I came out with that warm, glowing feeling that makes you really buzz for quite a while afterwards, that you've really done a really good turn to somebody else. And that lasted with me for quite a while afterwards. And just looking around in our audience today, I wonder if we can all say the same thing, how much we're doing for other people, or how much we're looking at ourselves. I'd like everybody to consider, as we leave the church today and as you go about your business, your studies tomorrow, trying to make that little impact on somebody else's life, somebody who isn't as fortunate as yourself, who doesn't have school fees paid, who probably doesn't have a bed or a hot meal every day such as yourselves. So let's make a difference collectively, because our theme is caring and being cared for. Let us all try and be caring, responsible human beings. That is a great gift to develop and nurture. The ability not to be self-centered, but to be looking after the interests of other people. So, as I started with, I'm going to finish, which is our charity. We have got a couple of charities that we are helping this year, but we are today collecting for shelter, and the buckets, it's a little bit like being on an aeroplane again, will be at the back there, so you'll have to trip over the buckets, you won't miss them. It would be great if everybody could find a coin, even if it's a 1p coin, I would appreciate it, because some of the statistics are £5 is going to buy one person a hot meal that hasn't probably had a hot meal in a very long time. £10 is going to buy a bed for the night with one hot meal. And the grand sum of £20 is going to buy somebody a suit to go for an interview. Now that might seem rather bizarre, but you can imagine if you don't have the appropriate clothes and you don't have the appropriate money, the interview is not a going concern. So we're going to try very hard to make a difference over Christmas and thereafter and be a caring community. So thank you very much for being such a great audience. I didn't hear one phone go off. So Michael, collectively we're doing quite well on that, aren't we? And am I introducing the next person or you are coming up? Okay, right, so it's lucky I brought my program with me. So we have next The Perfect Christmas, who actually has been composed and performed by Stella Matthews Wills. She's just here. So that's great because it would have taken a while to set up the harp. So let us listen attentively. I hope at the back you can see, because this is going to be a beautiful sound if you've never experienced this before. Thank you very much.
It's winter in the city, the streets are dark and cold, the stars above are hidden and the world is looking old. I guess there's celebration behind a million bolted doors, but in this generation, is it real anymore? When you try to find the magic on a supermarket shelf, it's really kind of tragic if you're honest with yourself. We're looking for perfection, but all we find is stress. Clear your eyes and realize that sometimes more is less. So yes, I guess all I want this year is a place to stay and a listening ear, a friend to talk to, a hand to hold, a fire to keep us from the cold. Yes, I guess all I'm saying is it would mean the world to me if that's how this Christmas could be. We could sit together in the dusky dying light. We could stay up talking late into the night. Tell our secret stories, make our secret plans. We can have the perfect Christmas, just give it the chance. So yes, I guess all I want this year is a place to stay and a listening ear, a friend to talk to, a hand to hold, a fire to keep us from the cold. Yes, I guess all I'm saying is it would mean the world to me if that's how this Christmas could be. Forget about the future, forget about the past. It's just one day a year, so we'd better make it last. And even if it's raining and things are looking bad, as long as we're with friends, how could anyone be sad? So yes, I guess all I want this year is a place to stay and a listening ear, a friend to talk to, a hand to hold, a fire to keep us from the cold. Yes, I guess all I'm saying is it would mean the world to me if that's how this Christmas, I wish that every Christmas, that's how this Christmas could be.
No Madonna and child could touch that picture of a mother's tenderness for a son she would soon have to forget. The air was heavy with odours of diarrhea, of unwashed children, with washed out ribs and dried up bottoms, struggling in laboured steps behind blown empty bellies. Most mothers there had long ceased to care, but not this one. She held a ghost smile between her teeth, and in her eyes the ghost of a mother's pride as she combed the rust-coloured hair left on his skull, and then, singing in her eyes, began carefully to part it. In another life, this must have been a little daily act of no consequence before his breakfast and school. Now she did it like putting flowers on a tiny grave.
Bury my bones, house on wheels, mines, not of stone. I'm not one of those lucky people who wake up to walls where they were born. Little pencil markings etched on kitchen doors. Bear me out in the cold. I've been frightened leaving the roots that I managed to make. It's the best I could do within the time frame. And here we go, another uproot. This house on wheels and never stops. I swear I'll keep in touch to say that every time, but I never do. Did I with you? Or did I? Or did I? Did I? Did I? But it took me a while to realize this fall that's so hard that a struggle to pronounce it's more than a city where the lights, familiar faces, me and my home, we go to oh, so many. Shelter me, keep me warm, lay me down, bury my bones. A house on wheels, but it's so stone, stone. In disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I, all alone, beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself, and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art, and that man's a scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet, in these thoughts myself almost despising, like to the lark at break of day, arising from sullen earth, happily I think on thee, and then my state. Yet for sweet love, remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state from kings.
Who's that knocking at the window? Who's that standing at the door? Whose are all those presents lying on the kitchen floor? Who is that smiling stranger with hair as white as gin? What is he doing with the children? And who could have let him in? Why has he rubies on his fingers? A cold, cold crown on his head? Why, when he caws his carol, does the salty snow run red? Why does he ferry my fireside like a spider on a thread, his fingers made from fuses and his tongue of gingerbread? Why does the world before him melt in a million suns? Why do his yellow, yearning eyes burn like saffron buns? Watch where he comes walking, out of the Christmas flame, dancing, double talking. Herod is his name.
saying old says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and ye shall find. So I'm going to seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I ever think of with regret. I'd like to add his initial to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone who watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key. Won't you tell him please to put on some speed, follow my lead? Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. Someone to watch over me.
It's the story of an ordinary boy named Charlie Bucket. He's not faster or cleverer than anyone else. His family is not rich or well connected. In fact, they barely have enough to eat. Charlie is the luckiest boy in the entire world. He just didn't know it yet. These are my competition winners. Piggy boy.
Hi, because I eat 10 kilos of chocolate every day.
That is why he is obese. Betty?
Hello, I'm Betty. I bought a chocolate bar yesterday and I won a golden ticket! I won a golden ticket! I can't believe it!
Veruca?
I am Veruca Salt. I won a golden ticket so my daddy got it.
Mike?
I'm Mike TV. I won this golden ticket. Obviously.
Obviously.
John. I'm Charlie Buckets, and I want a golden ticket. I want a golden ticket. Things like this don't happen to ordinary people like me. I'm going to the chocolate factory, everyone. I want a golden ticket. Look, it's
Welcome. Hello.
My love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life isn't like a song. clover. Then I looked at you. I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I never know. Oh, yeah, yeah. You smiled, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven, for you are mine.
That was a real range of wonderful talents, I think, for everybody. Okay? In a few minutes, we're going to be moving on to the part of the concert where we present academic awards to students. But first, I'd like to invite Baroness Perry of Southwark, who's the honorary president of DLD College, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Well, what a treat we've had, haven't we, in the marvellous performances that we've seen so far. And I can't help but reflect as I listen and watch and hear how well you are cared for in DLD. I think DLD does such a great job in caring for all its students and helping them to perform confidently and happily as we have just seen them do. And in a few minutes, we'll also be celebrating the academic awards, which the college has helped you to achieve, your teachers, and of course, your wonderful parents who have backed you up and paid for you and made sure that you were happy and cared for. Michael said at the beginning of this lovely afternoon that the word care has many meanings and it has very interesting roots. We talk about caring for something, taking care, having care. But we all know the kind of person who says, I don't care. And that's a different kind of care, isn't it? And I wonder, as you sit here, the students and your parents and teachers around you, I wonder if you think what it is that you care about. Obviously, you care about the people you love. You care about your friends. You care about getting good exam results. You care about enjoying yourself. But the most important thing is what it is in your own values that you care about, because that defines the kind of person you are. The kind of person who says, I don't care, is the person who really doesn't value anything. And I know that along with the wonderful academic success, the wonderful creativity of your singing and your music and your performing and your drama and your poetry, you also care about the kind of person you are. And I would like you to think over Christmas, over this period now that you have away from the college for a very short time, what it is that you really care about in your lives as you go out into the world in a year or two's time, the things that really matter to you and the kind of values you have. And I think that DLD as a college helps you to think about the values that matter most, about the caring that you do. And I celebrate today with you the thought that we have about how well you are cared for and how much you care. Thank you.
another fight. Tears that cried a flood. Got all kinds of poison in my blood. I took my feet to Oxford Street, try to right a wrong. Just walk away, those windows say, but I can't believe she's gone. When you're still waiting for the snow to fall, it doesn't really feel like together now. Just like the one I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of the white Christmas, with every Christmas card arrive. May your days be merry and bright. May all your Christmases be white. I'm dreaming of the white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of the white Christmas, with every Christmas card arrive. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be
So that concludes this year's winter concert. We hope that you enjoyed the show and look forward to greeting you at our new location in Westminster.